Happy lunch hour, gang. Okay, still Thursday and still running along. Fraud. Yeah, okay. I'm going to bring this one up because more and more is starting to come in, and I may all of a sudden have become somehow involved in some of it. We've all seen the stories on voter fraud. I don't know, let's just show you this one to start.
They are trying to steal the election again, and here's the proof. Somehow, multiple people have illegally registered to vote using my home address for the most important election of our lifetime. These clowns in Missouri don't have the balls to actually do something about it or ensure a free and fair election, because to be honest, they're all bought and paid for. These so-called Republicans had 4 years to get rid of the corrupt voting machines and to make it impossible for anyone to cheat in our elections. I genuinely hope it's too big to rig, because election fraud is officially underway.
Okay, so there's just one quick video of a lady in Missouri who all of a sudden got a whole bunch of absentee ballots in her mailbox for people that don't live at her house. And you've probably seen other stories about, I guess, a monastery where some group of people, bunch of people were registered at that address, yet nobody lives there. You've got a homeless shelter that apparently has 2,000 people using it as an address, but the homeless shelter only fits like 100 people. It's kind of interesting. You don't get mail at a homeless shelter either. So, just kind of interesting that the steal is on. But I want to show you what I got here this morning. Now, many of you guys may use the service USPS Informed Delivery, okay? Basically, it's where you put your address in, your email address in, and they send you a picture of what you're supposed to expect to come in the mail, right, that day. So you know if packages are going to arrive or whatever. It's somewhat of a security thing. For me, it works really good because the post office is 20 minutes away, and so I get an email. If there's stuff in my post office box, I know I need to go. I don't have to drive all the way over there, find the box is empty. But I have it for my house and for the P.O. box. We got notification via email this morning that there's a package coming priority mail that we are supposed to expect in the next couple of days. This is exactly what it looks like. Notice what it says: from Passport Services, DOS, Hot Springs. So I looked that up, and there is, in fact, a passport service in Hot Springs, Arkansas. There's the entire tracking number. You can go look it up yourself. No, it doesn't have my address or my name on there, so if you're trying to stalk me, it's not going to work. Okay. But yes, this package is awaiting for delivery. So the first thing I asked Mrs. P, because we had gotten her passport a year and a half ago, did they ever send her naturalization certificate back to her? And so she didn't remember. She went and looked in our paperwork, and yes, she's got her original from her naturalization certificate. So that wasn't it. I had to renew my passport at the beginning of this year. Didn't have to do anything but send them my old passport, fill out the paperwork, and I've already got my passport, and I got my old one back. Didn't have any IDs or any sort of paperwork I need. Not saying there's anything nefarious to this, but there might be, okay? Could somebody have possibly used my address to get a fake passport, to get a fake ID? I don't know. Maybe one of the 20 million people who have come across the border illegally in the last few years, and there have been some that were dropped off in my area, though we ran them out. Gee, it's not hard to fake the paperwork. So I'll be interested to see what happens when this package shows up. Because if there's a passport in there, or there's anything in there, I'm going to be getting a hold of, I don't know, Tim Burchett, Marsha Blackburn, Bill Haggerty, Bill Lee, anybody in my state government saying, why have I got this? Because we are not expecting anything, or should we be getting anything, from passport services. So my only guess at this point, again, it could turn out to be completely legit. Who knows? Maybe they owe me $2. I don't know. Or sending me a check. You wouldn't think you'd send that priority mail. It's kind of stupid. I'm spend $10 to send a $2 check. But who knows? We'll see what happens when it comes in. It's just something that you watch with everything else going on. Fraud. So now I'm going to bring this one up, and this is something that you guys need to pay attention to for the rest of the year, at least. We have no idea what's going to happen in 2 weeks. We have no idea who's going to win, though we have a good idea. But we have no clue how unhinged the liberals are going to be when they lose. Okay, remember all the pictures of the people screaming when Hillary Clinton lost. Okay, remember all the pictures from Minneapolis after George Floyd, or Portland with the Summer of Love, or anything like that. Those things are going to happen in some places in the country. Okay, when Trump is announced as the victor, you're going to have these unhinged liberals burn, loot, and murder again. But let's say it gets worse, okay? And this is for as SHTF really comes upon us. You're going to have roving groups of people, whether they're migrant caravans or whether it's guy, his wife, and his 2 kids walking down the street looking for somewhere to go. We talk about civil war in the prepper community, sometimes here too, often. And there's all sorts of different opinions, whether it's going to be based on race, whether it's going to be based on politics, whether it's going to be based on financial, whatever it is. How are you going to tell if somebody is friend or foe? Now, again, if it's based on race, which I doubt that's going to be, because at least on the right side of the spectrum, there ain't a bunch of racists. On the left side of the spectrum, the Democrats, they are full of racists. Okay, I'm sorry, that may go against Kamala Harris's reality, but that is the reality for the rest of us. All right, the party of racism is the party of the donkey, the Democrats. Excuse me. So, if it's race, that's going to be kind of obvious. But if it's political persuasion, which I have a tendency to think that's more of what it's going to be in a couple of weeks, how are you going to know if that person coming down the street, knocking on your door, is friend or foe? Right? If you've got an American flag out in front of your house, or Gadsden flag, or whatever, it's pretty obvious which side you are on the political spectrum. I mean, if you've got a rainbow flag or a picture of Che Guevara or something like that, okay, it's also obvious which side you fall on. But how about being infiltrated? How difficult would it be for you or somebody coming to you to believe one thing but knock on a door and say something else? And I want you to remember this for any sort of SHTF situation, because it doesn't just fit politics, it's just a good explanation for right now. How hard would it be for you, hypothetically, to walk up to somebody's door and say, "Oh my God, can you please help me?" And they're like, "Well, this is a blue house." "Oh, well, yeah. I supported Kamala Harris and Tim Walz." Do you believe them? If somebody comes up to your house and says, "I supported Trump and Vance," do you believe them? How do you know? What are you going to do? Okay. First off, before anything ever like that ever comes, you need to make sure those people are unarmed. Okay, that's an absolute seriousness. There's no question that people are going to flock to your house once they see that there's smoke coming out of the chimney, means heat, okay, or they see a light on, or they see a garden, or something, they see movement, people are going to tend to want to go to another group. Protection, safety in numbers. But how do you know who you're letting in is worthy of being with you? What sort of precautions are you taking? Somebody comes anywhere near, first off, you better have them lined up, if you know what I mean, sighted in. Tell them to stop. Personally, it'd be stripped down to your skivvies. I want to make sure you are completely unarmed, okay? Nothing of the sort. And then female upon female, male upon male, would go pat the person down and make sure they are completely clean. No knives, no guns, no razor wire, no razor blade, no nothing tucked into a waistband or something like that. And then they would certainly be quarantined off. Maybe you help them, but then they get interrogated at length. Separate the husbands from wives, separate the kids from the parents, and you put the pressure on them to determine whether they are friend or foe. These are things that people really need to realize. So many people romanticize SHTF, that they're just going to sit on the front porch, and if somebody steps on their property, kablooey, and they're gone. It's not going to work like that. They're going to fight back. Going to the range is all sorts of wonderful. The targets don't shoot back. That's SHTF. Okay, that's what you need to realize. You are going to have people, good and bad, that are going to come to you for help. The good ones obviously want to be part of community. The bad ones obviously want to take whatever you have. And you're going to have to figure out how to separate the two, how to determine whom is whom. It's something I want you to think about because it's different for everybody and how they're going to do it. I mean, again, it depends on if we go down a political spectrum, if we go down a racial spectrum, if we go down a economic spectrum, whatever it's going to be. And your ideas are going to be different. Maybe throw a question at them like this. Oh, you support Trump. Name his 5 kids. Okay. Maybe they can't. Chances are if you support Trump, you can name his 5 kids. Just saying that's what's going on now. This could happen 10 years from now. What's J.D. Vance's wife's name? I mean, those would be questions that I'd ask, because that's going to tell me how much you followed. And you may completely disagree with me, and that's okay. All right. I'm giving you something to think about, is how are you going to determine who is friend and who is foe? We're not all going to be walking down the street wearing red shirts or blue shirts. It's not going to work that way. And even if it is, it's pretty easy to change t-shirts. All right. Not like you can go up and say, here's my ballot. See? Got a copy of the ballot? Probably not. Just be cognizant of that. Think about stuff like that, but watch for fraud. People are not going to be who they say they are a lot of times, especially in a couple of weeks when things turn around. You can already see the media doing it. The media is already trying to backpedal. For 3 years, they've been carrying water for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Now, all of a sudden, like the town hall yesterday, Anderson Cooper kind of put the screws to Kamala a little bit. The CNN panelists weren't raving over her articulate answers, right? Because they can see the writing on the wall too. So a leopard is changing its spots. The fraud is coming. They know, oh my God, if Trump wins or when Trump wins, we're in trouble if all we do is bash on him and bash on him. We need to bash on her a little bit so when he wins, we can say, look, hey, we were giving her a hard time too. Expect that. Trust, but verify. But at the beginning, trust no one.